Peace, peace, peace. Where how you doing? It's your brother Mikey Fever. Welcome to another episode of NYP Talk Show, the coolest, the most down to earth, rawest podcast within this conscious space. I'm your host, Mikey Fever. Today is Haitian Flag Day. As you can see, I got the Makami thing going on right now. So, so it's all love, man. I just want to say shout out to all my Haitians out there. Aïe Bobo Sac Passe. Peace and love. Pray for Haiti. Shout out to the Haitian team from the World Cup soccer. We're here to talk about the the Moorish connection to Haiti with Brother Mauryell Smith L. Welcome, my brother. How you doing?
Yeah, it feels good to be back. Thank y'all for having me back. And of course, first things first, I'm glad to get better praise to the homage to Marcus McBride Garvey, to the first thing that she Hill and my second that she honest to everybody joining us and just peace and love to everybody, man. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, brother. Oh man. So that's a dope concept you wanted to speak about. What is the Moorish connection to Haiti, man? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I got a PowerPoint. Do you want me to just jump
Yeah,
on
sure.
that, or how you want to do it?
Yeah, let's bring up the PowerPoint, man. I got the questions after.
For sure. All right.
Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. We got super chats. The last show was dope. We had a great panel, man. We had Mumble Rose, Papa Mystique, Brother Hassan on there. They were going in, man.
All right. So, the Moorish connection to Haiti. First things first, this is a picture of what they call the Citadel of Lafayette. I mean, it was built within like not too long ago. But so it's not
1805, I believe.
huh?
Was it after the revolution?
Like that, sometime in the 1800s or something like that. But it gets a lot of its inspiration from Moorish architecture. So just wanted to that's why this is here and it's pointed out in this first slide. But let us jump to the PowerPoint.
Let's go.
All right, so again, Haiti as an Afro-Atlantic crossroads, Taíno memory, Moorish currents, maroon resistance, and revolutionary freedom. So hopefully some of the topics we'll be able to touch on today is that Haiti was not an isolated historical event. The island emerged from centuries of indigenous Caribbean civilization, Atlantic migration, Moorish Iberian expansion, African resistance, maroon survival, and a revolutionary consciousness. The Haitian Revolution became the meeting point of indigenous memory, African survival, spirituality, and global anti-colonial struggle.
Go ahead, bro.
All right, so first, understanding that it is the Taínos, which is a section of Arawak-speaking people.
Yes.
We're also related to the Caribs. So Caribs, Taínos, Arawak-speaking people, these are all related peoples. But specifically the Taínos, were the people that were populating Haiti prior to Columbus, right? So get the book, The Taínos by Irving Rouse. And it talks about how, Taino societies were very well advanced. It had a sophisticated maritime tradition. Again, as you can see in this picture that's being shown, like how the different Arawak and Taino language was spread. Historians have come to a consensus that Arawakan speakers came from South America and migrated into the Caribbean. And because it was kind of like a maritime civilization, it was a lot of island hopping for thousands of years in this area. So it's like, again, what we have to understand is that people didn't just stay in one place, and that the Caribbean, South America, Central America, Southern North America was all interrelated or interconnected.
Got you. So we say that we know that the Taínos inhabited the island prior before Columbus, because the island was known as Quisquia, as they put it, which is now modern day Haiti and Dominican Republic. Right.
Right.
So we know that, and then later on, so they say, like they say historically, they brought the Africans over from West Africa. But I have researched and discovered, this was years ago, that not all of the Africans came came from Africa. They actually came from the slave Grenada.
Say that last part again.
A lot of them came over from Spain when the fall of Grenada.
Right, 100%.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So actually, my next slide is going to talk a little bit about pre-Columbian African connections. But
Okay.
one important thing about Taino agriculture, of the Taínos are credited with like cultivating and developing cassava.
Yeah.
Why is that so important? Is cassava is a huge crop in West Africa that's used to make fufu. If you ever had
Mm-hmm.
a West African dish with fufu, so
Yeah.
cassava is a huge West African crop. But the crop cassava actually, just based off of academia records, have actually originated with the Taíno. So I think
Okay.
that's a big connection. This is going to lead us to this next slide, actually. All right, so get the book African Empires in Ancient America by Dr. Clyde Winters. In this book, he talks about, I believe, from page like 35 to 43, he talks about connections between the Mende peoples and Taino, Olmec, American cultures. So some of
Mm-hmm.
the points that they hit on is there's a linguistic suffix connection. So the Olmec Mende suffix ka, it indicates like a nationality or place. So it appears in Mexican place names like Toluca or Oaxaca, and over 50 identical place names have been found between West Africa and Mesoamerica. So that was the first connection, is that the term ka was used to denote place or people.
Mm.
The next similarity is Thai Manding. The extinct Taino language of the Caribbean shares significant phonological and morphological and lexical features with Manding and Olmec, including monosyllabic words,
Mm.
agglutinations, uses of affixes like I or ma, and reduplication for plurals. So like
Mm.
ma or etc. Right? And then the next thing, they have shared pronoun patterns. So Mandingo, Taino, Otami, and Maya all share striking first person in and a second person MEI. So this pronoun pattern, which linguists argue is rarely borrowed and suggests ancient contact rather than recent influence from African slaves. And then
Mm.
also we have an Otami in Manding affinities. Old Otami, not the modern dialect, shares grammatical features with Manding such as CV syllable structure, tone, agglutination, and specific emphasis like da, ba, no, along with numerous basic vocabulary cognates. And then, of course, the last point, Maya and Manding parallels. Mayan and Manding languages share analogous pronominal systems, a distinction between alienable and alienable possession use of ma for the negative mood and the suffix
Mm.
ka for possession in basic vocabulary. So like ba for father, ka for maize. So what the argument that Clyde Winters was trying to make is that like the structure of certain words uh is, I guess, so sophisticated that it wouldn't have been like a recent migration that would have made the affinities between these languages, and that these similarities would have developed over a longer period of time, which would denote to pre-Columbian African contact with the
Yeah.
Caribbean.
I figured I kind of see that. I know, like, there was contact amongst the indigenous and African people.
Yeah,
Right.
and what's
There was a culture between them. I know they had to be involved with trade because the Moors were already
exactly,
navigating the seas. So there was
exactly,
an exchange of culture and goods.
and that's the point. So my point with cassava
Yeah.
and how cassava, the significance of cassava, kind of being originated with the Taíno, and then cassava becoming a huge plant amongst, nations in West Africa, is that cassava is very drought resistant.
Yeah.
So it would have been a need to trade with the Taíno for cassava because, they're in the Sahel, they're in the desert and places like that. So, having those access to a crop like cassava for droughts is very important when you're trying to maintain an empire.
Wow. Bro. This is good. I like how you're doing this, man. This connection, this Moorish connection in Haiti. So we took us from the Citadel infrastructure, how it looks,
Yep.
down to the ecology of the trade, where the food has changed the ecology.
Yep.
You know, now you're gonna take us into the Moorish Spain and opening up the Atlantic. Because yeah, that's what I want to know more. Because to me, I don't believe every individual that came through slavery was straight from Africa,
Right.
Africa right to the island.
Hundred
I
percent.
know from Spain, something took place in Spain from the fall of Granada. So go ahead.
100%. So for example, so basically to tie all of these slides together, right? We just looked at, all right, how was Taino culture, pre-Columbus, right?
Mm-hmm.
We looked at connections with African culture pre-Columbus, and
Yes, sir.
now, right, with the first contact with the Spanish, we know that that's facilitated by Moorish technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, Spain inherited centuries of scientific culture and knowledge um, from Al-Andalus. The Moorish influence helped shape navigation, astronomy, mathematics, cartography, irrigation, and agriculture. And Iberian expansion into the Atlantic occurred shortly after the fall of Granada. So some of the things that they used, again, the astrolabe, right? They used astronomical tables done by Moors and Sephardic Moors. They used the shipping technology of the caravel so that they can have, maneuver in the water better. The maps, maps coming from Ali Drisi, maps coming from Al Masudi, maps coming from the East as well. So all of the technology uh, that Spanish Jews came from the intellectual property of the Moors. And you see up here, I have Estevanico's route, which I know we're talking about Haiti, but just to show, like, when they were making these voyages, they would island hop. They would go from, as you can see, starting right here, from Haiti, which was called Hispaniola at the time, into Cuba, up through Cuba to the Bahamas to Florida, and then this is when Estevanico's route, went around the southern part of the United States down into Mexico.
Got you.
So again, understanding that the island where Haiti is at was important to the growth of the Spanish into the rest of the Americas because they still didn't weren't familiar with the territory, so they had to take it step by step with these different island chains. Point that out.
I like that.
Another thing too is sugar cultivation. So again, the Moors introduced sugar to Europe. So then afterwards, so the sugar cultivation was one of the biggest parts of the transatlantic slave trade. The sugar that was coming from Haiti, the French colony of Haiti at the time,
Mm-hmm.
made France super wealthy, right? So
Yes, they
those
did.
techniques of sugar cultivation is going back to Moorish Spain as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Any other questions on this slide?
No, like we learned, like I'm glad you put that in the cart, like the sciences that were brought over from there, the
Yeah.
island. So it's making sense because we hear from different perspectives about the Haitian people and culture. That it was a mixture of different tribes that brought their sciences, the languages, the foreign language that later came from Gaul, the different mixture of West African nations, and then with the indigenous added to it, and then some the oppressor
Yeah.
that made our culture as they put it rich now,
Yeah.
but it's
No,
just
seriously.
learn.
Like
Right.
all of the elements that made the European empires rich came from elements that made the Moorish Empire rich. Right?
Exactly.
Again, a lot of these techniques we introduced to them. So, once we was falling, they basically just took over the industries while still using our labor to fulfill it. Because their
Hmm.
population uh, still wasn't, the craftiest with it. Even the prophet said it was the expulsion of the Moors that caused Spain to fall into decadence, right?
Mm.
And other countries were actually laughing at Spain after they expelled the Moors in 1610 because it's like y'all gave away y'all money makers to us.
All right. Let's go next slide. Let's see.
Yeah. All right. So next slide. Enriquillo. right, who was a native Taino, who actually banded with a group of maroons to perform like the earliest native revolt against the Spanish. So this is also very important because this happened at the beginning of the 16th century. I want to say in the 1520s, I believe, or if not, right before the 1520s. So as I said, Hispaniola became one of Spain's first colonial centers. The Encomienda system forced Taínos into labor. So this was the Encomienda system, was the system that the Spanish used to enslave Native Americans.
Yep, I heard about that. That was on the Dominican side right there. That war.
Yeah,
That was one of the first revolts. I think was it that one that lasted about 3 years, I believe,
I
something like
believe
that.
so.
It was 3 years. I know it also took place in Puerto Rico as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like after this revolt, this is literally this revolt, Enrique's revolt, is actually the start of the first group of Maroons.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the Moors, or the Moorish and African people that were brought over starting in 1502, outside of the Moors that came with them, came with the early explorers who had the knowledge. This is more so like African or Moorish laborers that came in 1502. These again, those Moors and Africans that came with the Spanish during those early periods, right? This is what, again, with this revolt, this is your earliest Maroon community. Your earliest Maroon, the first Maroon communities is communities that's mixed Indigenous and Moorish people coming from Spain, mostly Spain. So this is your first Maroon group. And also, again, this sets the tone for why Haiti has, this long lasting legacy of resistance on that island.
I believe the marabouts were there too, right? I just say the marabouts.
Yeah. Of course. So we definitely gonna kind of hit on that in some later slides as well. But again, the marabouts, again, these are just West African Sufi holy men.
Okay.
Right. So these are just these are Muslims with herbal and scientific knowledge and the knowledge to spread brotherhoods and things like that made they work also to the Caribbean and America.
All right, I got you, bro. You make it to me.
But what's key about them as well is that they were used to living amongst non-Muslims.
Okay.
Right, which made them understand how to coordinate and organize with non-Muslims, which was the result of a lot of the revolts in the Americas.
So they were tolerant as well.
All right, so to this point, so the first quote unquote pure African revolt in the Americas comes during 1522 by some Wolof Moors, and they actually executed this on Christmas, December 25th, 1522, on Christmas, on Diego Columbus, Christopher Columbus' son. So how about that for a Christmas movie?
Talk about it. That's dope.
So again, right, the Wolof people from the Citadel. That's what we gotta understand too, is that like the late 1400s, early 1500s, that first layer of Africans brought to the Americas are coming from direct Moorish territories. The oldest layer of Africans brought to the Americas are direct Moorish territories and people. Okay, from the Senegambia up to Andalusia, people brought to Andalusia.
So that's the contribution to the world they talk about also.
Right. So it's like when these other ethnic groups are now being brought to the Americas, now they just add a new layer on top of that layer. And then those layers get syncretized, and then now this is where you get the hybridized religions of Santeria, Candomblé, Obey,
Got you, man. Now it's making, yeah, got you.
Taylor Mayambe, and all those different things. Is that as the different years go by, different elements are now being added on to the original Moorish layer. And this is why the marabouts point is so important, because again, it's the marabouts. It would be those marabouts, Soninke, Wangaren type trade settlement diasporas that would have been used to living amongst non-Muslims.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my God,
which would have allowed and carried over coordination efforts to the Americans.
Just bust my head, man.
All right. So some escaped rebels formed maroon community. So again, from that revolt, from that 1522 revolt, it was crushed. The revolt was crushed, but a lot of those Wolof Moros were able to escape to those same maroon communities in the mountains from Enriquillo's revolt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's starting to coalesce again. So the earliest these early maroon communities are direct participants in the Moorish Empire.
Got you. Oh, brother, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, bro.
Pretty intense.
So now, well, like I was saying, as these layers are starting to get added, right? Here comes the Haitian voodoo layer, right? So voodoo is coming from this area right here, right? It's coming from the people, the Iwe people, the Aja people, the Fan people, and Dahomey, Benin, Togo, parts of Nigeria, parts of Ghana, etc. Right. So once these people started to get added into the mix, right? What is the Islamic element, right? So the Islamic element that's being added with these nations is the talisman, which is very important, which is used for protection, right? The prayer structures, the sacred writing, the numerology and divination that was used, and the spiritual discipline, right? So a huge component of the intermixing and connections between Islam and Voodoo is especially the talismans.
Yeah.
Right? We were used for protection, and they also connect us to the Soni people as well, because the Soni people were known to make these talismans or grigris in West Africa prior to European encroachment as well.
I want to add this, right?
Yeah.
I know that Islamic, there are legends of when the revolution took place there, say, Wakaima. Like
say it again.
Say, when the revolution took place in Haiti,
they
said they were in alligator woods, was known as Wakaima. And I heard legends of
what?
The alligator woods, Wakaima. So they say sometimes some people say it means kai, a house. Kai in Creole means house in Creole, home. So they say Wakaima. So some people say it means an imam's house where they gathered at, right? But then also in Palo, that's a legend that they say about the revolution. Don't quote me on this, but I know in Palo they say so. Salam alaikum wa alaikum salam.
Yeah. There's definitely, particularly amongst Jamaican Maroons, they start their meetings with Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, but in Haiti, like we don't hear too much of Islamic. Only thing I know closest to that was the marabouts that came from. Like, they had the knowledge of that. So to see you build on that, that's very, it's very inspirational, man. Very, very instrumental, man. I like that.
Yes, sir. 100%.
Yeah, so talismanship is like prayer structures, that's true.
So especially right, I think we talked about this maybe in a previous episode, but the movie The Woman King.
Yeah.
The movie The Woman King. So again, Fawn people, Abomey, right? Katanau. Abomey was the capital where the Amazons from the movie The Woman King were at. Right, so they were at war with the Oyo. and it was in the wars between the Oyo and the Dahomey people caused a lot of voodoo practitioners to be shipped over to the Americas because as different ethnic groups fight, the captives become enslaved. So these elements of these specific areas of these groups practicing voodoo in these areas were always a part of the network going further north, which was in the sphere of Moorish trade. Like what they getting horses from, the turbans, and things like that, the textiles.
Yeah, I got you. Somebody say in the comment section, don't forget about King Christophe from Haiti. No, we never forget King Christophe. I told him.
What is that? I couldn't hear that last part.
Don't forget King Christophe.
I
said we'll never forget that. The brother was building on that. So we forgot. Go ahead.
All right, so I did get a chance to finish the rest of my slides, but I know where I'm gonna take it. So from this point, right, when we look at the deeper Islamic voodoo connections, right, people like Dutty Bookman and Makandale, there's a lot of debate and information out there that they were also Muslim. They had Muslim backgrounds, but they also were voodoo priests. So again, here you have people who are known to have a Muslim background and also be voodoo priests.
That makes sense, though.
Exactly, as well as
Sufi, like they were spiritual, but Sufi is like
particularly coming from the Senegambia region or Futa region in Guinea, in those areas. So, in understanding that, again, Bookman and Makandale, they had a huge influence on people that would play a major role in the Haitian Revolution. People like Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Toussaint, but as well as somebody like George Bissau, who was in Haiti, but then he migrated to Florida and linked up with the Seminoles there. So, like, Florida is also connected to the Caribbean and what was going on too. Because again, you have this movement amongst what they was called, Creole peoples or Atlantic Creoles. So again, what was going on at the time, right? When we get into the Haitian Revolution is happening at the same time that the French Revolution is happening. So the French having their own revolution made the conditions perfect for the Haitian Revolution to spark up as well, because the forces are divided, resources are being divided, the empire is in turmoil, right? So it was the perfect time for the Haitian Revolution to come about, as well as understanding what was going on in the world with different abolition movements and things like that. So, like, the Haitian Revolution is connected to a lot of global outcomes. When we look at, again, right, these voodoo priests who were Muslims, who sparked the leaders of the Haitian Revolution, and then you also have, right, connections of Toussaint Louverture, rocking the fez in his Liberia Congress depiction of him and things like that. Like, again, these elements, the elements are super prevalent in this story. We know that the Haitian Revolution and what it stands for, as far as like our sovereignty as African and Moorish peoples, it was the model and the example. But again, it didn't happen in isolation, right? It wasn't purely just the people of Haiti, because you also have people coming from the Americas migrating there, other people coming from Africa, other people coming from different places. Because what we had also was the intra-American slave trade, where natives were being taken from places like Virginia, the Carolinas, Massachusetts, and places like that, and shipped to the Caribbean.
Mm.
So like these elements so there's a Caribbean element, there's a North American element, and then there's of course African and Creole mixed with European element. Like again, like we think that for us here born in the States, that people from the States also have no connection to Haiti. When understanding that it was a corridor, that people were moved from the southern United States to the Caribbean. People from the Caribbean was moved from the Caribbean to the southern United States. So like we're
Mm.
all really connected.
Oh wow. See,
Yeah.
that's gonna spark a lot of controversy because some people may not want to hear that because they could be blinded. I
Yeah,
always tell them don't think so small because part of the Louisiana Purchase was a result of the Haitian Revolution.
exactly. It was a
So
convergence. That's why New Orleans has the history that it's got because it's right there.
yeah,
It
definitely, and
was a corridor. These different people are moving through the corridor. So as you see, right, somebody like our brother who founded the city of Chicago.
oh,
He
Charles
wasn't a slave.
Gonzalez,
Yeah,
yeah,
DuSable. He
yeah,
wasn't a slave, right? He was a merchant. So again, depending on what your situation was,
mm-hmm.
will determine how you moved about,
Gotcha.
determine how communities were created. So you have at the same time you have people being enslaved, but then you have these maroon communities. But then you have these who they call Atlantic Creoles, people that can move amongst the different empires, Spanish, Haitian, and English empires, and play them against each other as well. A lot of that was going on too.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So, now that we know it's from different parts of Africa, different tribes got involved, which created these small how should I say groups,
Mm-hmm.
um, created a language of the Creole concept, this language of Creole with the foreign people. Um, what part of those like descend from the Moorish? Like are there any similarities like in the language or culture? Like we heard about the language part, but as far as the culture, is it still contained today outside of the science and everything else?
Yeah. So again, a lot of the herbal knowledge that's in
Yeah.
voodoo and hoodoo, right? That's coming out of the agricultural revolution that the Moors started in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the herbal knowledge and understanding like botany and what to do with certain plants
Herbs.
and things, the herbs and things to weaponize. There was an entire agricultural revolution that the Moors started um, earlier in the last millennium.
What's so dope that I'm glad you chose this to speak about? I've been hearing some more that I know,
Mm.
and they be telling me, brother, Haitians are part of the Moorish movement. They say on top of your flag, look at that little
Yes.
cap. It's a fez, brother.
Yeah.
They are Moors. You guys are Moors. And I was told this back in '09, and then I started doing some research. I'm not saying I'm astute like that, but
Yeah.
brief research, and I was like, what? I'm trying to see it from the Citadel, as you said, the way the construct of the fortress, the Citadel,
Yep.
the wrapping of the head, even down like in traditional things like ceremonial garments. It's the head
Hmm.
wrap, and you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
I'm like,
maybe
oh, it's there. Yeah, got you.
crops that was used, uh, the purification rituals, right, with
Mm-hmm.
water, a lot of different things. So again, as we can see, starting from the 15th century, starting from that first contact with Columbus and his people, the Moorish layer just kept getting added onto, and this is just true for all the Americas, honestly, because
Mm-hmm.
your first Africans brought over were people directly from Moorish areas. You also have, Africans come indirectly from Moorish areas, the further south of the coast. But again, for the first 200 years, or within the first 200, 150, 200 years, a majority of those people were coming from what they call the Senegambian region.
Mm. Yeah, get more into that.
Yeah. So again, and we talked about this on other shows, but as the Portuguese and the Spanish are exploring the western coast, the Atlantic coast of West Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
They start from the north. So they take Ceuta in Morocco, and they start going further south. They start in parts of Mauritania, and then they finally get to Senegal. And they get all the way down to Ghana, and they get all the way down to Congo, right? So the Spanish, the Spanish had the northern part. The Portuguese were all the way down in Congo, and then they started to bring their people from the Congo Angola region to Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the Spanish, they had the Caribbean and North America. So they started bringing people from the northern part, Senegambia, Morocco,
Mm-hmm.
Mauritania, initially to the Americas as well. So it was basically just based off the geography and how the Spanish got further south first is what allowed which people they were taking as slaves to the Americas,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
And then the French as well. So then now once the French take over the portion of the island that becomes Haiti, the French they set their post up in Senegal as well, St. Louis,
Yeah.
which was their major trading center in West Africa. So all of their people are also coming from the Senegambia region as well.
Are you saying that they were trading from both sides? Because you said that Haiti was basically being used as a port to funnel people through.
Yeah, so what they were doing is not only were they taking people from Africa and bringing them into the Americas, but they were taking people from the Americas and shipping them to the from North America and shipping them to the Caribbean. And then, of course, too, indigenous people from the Americas, from North America, the Caribbean, Central South America, they also worked on the ships and things like that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there's also a record of them being taken to Africa too, and to Europe. So
Mm-hmm.
again, there's the history of the Caribbean and the Moorish connection to North, South, and Central America is a convergence of these several different ethnic groups coming together.
Can we find I know you mentioned the name of the authors and everything else, but can we
Yeah,
just find these like in the archives, you know, in the national archives of Moorish, people being labeled as Moors that went to the Caribbean, from Haiti and stuff?
like, are you saying? So you're asking the archives for like some of the stuff that I'm saying? I can put
Yeah,
some. I'll put what I'll do is I have a list of sources. I can just send it to you, and you can put it like I guess in the description of the video or
yeah,
something.
definitely. Because the only reason why I asked for this is so vital. Because some of our learning was limited within the curriculum of school, and this as we got older, we were able to go out there and do some research on these subjects to go further into our studies.
Yeah,
And it's amazing. Like this right here should be this should be taught in schools, especially among the youth. It's really
definitely,
dope.
definitely, and I think that's the big point is that like I feel like up until the explosion of the internet and DNA testing and things like that is that like we were basically conditioned to think that we came from a single or singular tribe,
Yeah.
a singular ethnic group, but we have the blood of several different ethnic groups, several different tribes, several different nations. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if we want to truly honor our ancestors, we have to honor our ancestors from a holistic point of view, right? This is why Moorish nationality is so important, is because it's really the only nationality that incorporates several different ethnic groups, right?
It is.
Because even if you say, like somebody, let's say somebody take a DNA test, they found out they're 50% Nigerian. They may say, well, I'm Nigerian now. Well, you gotta understand that in Nigeria, there's several different ethnic groups there.
Yep.
Edo, Hausa, Fulani, Ibu, uh, uh, Jukan, Igala, Nupe. There's several different ethnic groups in Nigeria. So even though like a DNA test is telling you Nigerian, they're not even telling you exactly what tribe you come from as well, because there's several different tribal groups in there as well. So it's like the Moorish perspective is a perspective that can be historically backed, that it always incorporated several different ethnic groups.
I want to look back into history, man, because thinking about it now with the Haitian flag in the middle of the coat of arms, the tree, palmist tree, as they call it, with the red cap on the top, right? The red cap or fez. We know Catherine Florin created a flag. I want to know what motivated her to put that on top of it. Like, that's something that, I got to go back and ask my parents and some, elders. Like, what made you put that on top of the flag? And then the first flag of Haiti was black and red. You know what I'm saying? So I want to know the significance. It means the color of the people and the blood that was shed, but to know what's the meaning of putting it on top of the coat of arms.
Yeah. Well, that cap, is representative of liberty.
Yeah.
It's a soft version of the fez historically. It represents liberty. The Haitian people freed themselves. So I think that's probably the closest explanation that probably makes the most sense. But again, these elements, these Moorish elements, these voodoo elements, the homemade elements are the characteristics that make up now what we call Haitian culture. And I think that's also a thing that we need to understand, is that like none of this stuff, I think we think as Asiatics, so-called African Americans, Afro-Caribbean, Afro whatever, here in America, we think that a lot of the stuff that pertains our culture today is something new. When really it's nothing new, it's just something rebranded and syncretized from the several different ethnic groups we come from.
Yep.
So again, there's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly. No business. Brother, I'm honored today to celebrate, and honored to have you here celebrating this as well.
Yes, sir.
I always knew Haitian history. This, as we said in the last episode, we tend to romanticize the revolution. But I was going to say, let's go further back to that. Before you were slaves.
Yeah.
What were you? Where do you come from?
Yeah.
I don't want to know what we were after slavery.
Yeah.
Genesis of us.
Yeah. And I think that's the missing connection. Like we have to understand what happened with slavery, because it gives us a point of view that we can't get from the leaders and the heroes and stories and scenarios that happened after slavery, because it's always dealing with resistant oppression. We need to understand how to build national institutions. And the best way to study how we build national institutions as a people is to study the empires of medieval West Africa. Because from there, we could then see, okay, how do we administer things? How do we govern trade routes? What policies did we have? What was the treasury spent towards from the government? Like all of those things we can study pre-slavery that we wouldn't get that same perspective post-slavery. It's like, yes, we built parallel systems post-slavery, but it's never been in a position that didn't involve resisting oppression. We got to understand how to design without resistance of thinking about somebody else.
Exactly.
Right? We got to design for like what we want. We know that there's always going to be other players globally, but the Chinese, the Indian people, Russian people, all of the big nations of the world, they're not thinking about the agendas they have for their people and how somebody else is going to mess it up. They're thinking about how strong their people are to carry out the vision. Same thing for us.
You got on the slide, brother?
Nah, those are the last of the slides. The rest of the slides were a little bit unfinished. But I can go to any form of slides, or we can finish with some questions as well.
I have some questions. So the connections between, we know where many of the Africans came from over to Haiti. And now that we know, not all actually came from Africa. They did, but from Spain to Grenada, before Grenada. So we can get into that. We know about the cultures that were brought over. Many of them were Sufi Islamic brothers on spiritual level. Some are Muslims, so they have discipline of Muslim prayers and structure, framework of prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and cosmology and cartooning and some of the stuff.
Yeah.
What else did we bring over? Like,
Well, to your Sufi point, though, I want to speak to a tradition that isn't talked about. It's called the Sawari philosophy
okay.
in West Africa. And it was like a pacifist philosophy, meaning that again, Muslims were supposed to lead by example. They were not supposed to like overly try to compel or compel somebody to join Islam. They were supposed to lead with knowledge, academia, lead with trade, lead with being useful to people.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about the religion last, and like letting their life kind of be a ministry or an example of what a good Muslim should be like. So that that philosophy definitely found its way over to the Americans because that's what it allowed these different people from these different areas in West Africa to then unite themselves with again the different indigenous people, the Taíno, Arab, Arawak people that also fled to the mountains to create these maroon civilizations. So maroon communities are nothing but neo-Moorish communities.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be clear on that. That maroon communities are neo-Moorish communities in the Americas. Because you got to think about it. Again, in West Africa, the closest thing that would have allowed most ethnic groups to communicate with one another would have been Arabic. Arabic was the lingua franca. It was the language for trade. So this is what allowed a Hausa to speak with somebody that was a Khan. It would allow somebody that was mandated to speak with somebody that was of Yoruba descent, right? So when we look at, okay, these different people
Mm-hmm.
are now being taken from their homes, right, and shipped somewhere else, and they're starting the uprising, and now they're fighting for survival to run into the mountains, run into the woods, run into secluded areas, and create community. Well, how are you going to do it? How are they communicating? What are they using? Right?
Mm-hmm.
They would have to use the things that made the most sense that they would have relied on back home.
Hmm.
So the elements of language, the Ajami script, which was used to write African languages using Arabic letters. So you have documents in Ajami and Hausa and Mande and Fulani and several different West African ethnic group languages. They will write their language in the Arabic script, just like French, English, Italian will write their language in the Latin script.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
want to ask something. Now that we know there was an Islamic influence on the trade of the people from the trade of the people over to Haiti, with many were in Islamic background, right?
Mm.
How did the conversion, like we know, the war that took place between Catholicism and Islam, right?
Yeah.
How did the stronghold of the Catholic religion win over on the Islamic influence of Haiti? Because that's the powerful thing right there. Like many were forced, like you said they learned to live amongst others, but the dominant religion became Catholicism.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a twofold measure because we got to understand too, like, what did the Catholics learn from Muslims? And
Mm.
then we also got to look at, okay, how did traditional African religions disguise their religious, practice rituals under the guise of Catholicism as well,
Yeah.
right? So again, it was the Moors were the first Africans to be forced to become Catholic.
Yeah.
It was the Moors who were the first Africans to be a part of the maroon communities.
Mm-hmm.
So then now when these other African comes with these African traditional religions, who can they learn on how to syncretize their religion to Catholicism?
Oh, I got you with the
You see
voodoo.
what I'm saying?
Ah, got you.
All
Yeah,
right.
that makes sense. It's like the story of the Templars and the Catholic. Oh shoot, weren't the Templars part of them? They were fighting Islam, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
But then I
During
learned.
during the Crusades, yes, but here's the thing.
Mhm.
They were fighting, but it was more so a fight between the elite than the actual soldiers, because you will have the actual soldiers who will have friendships. Because usually when these wars are fought during these time periods, there's time for breaks, trade routes is usually open. Like war is really more so how nations interact from each other and learn from each other most of the
Mhm.
time historically, and like one nation destroying another nation's culture.
Bro,
War was also like a meeting place for exchange of culture as well.
yo, I just made a connection in my head. I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm reading too much. Chat, let me know if I'm reading too much. Haiti and DR share the same island, right?
Yes, sir.
They say different cultures do the language whatsoever, but now I get it. DR got the Bible stamped on their flag. Haiti didn't. So the inhabitants and they inherited that war between them.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing this sign like, oh, this is why they can't get along. Not all, but some of them have that contention between them.
yeah,
Because one side is waving the Bible, and the other side is hiding the culture behind the synchronism of idols.
yeah,
There are some in DR that practice the voodoo as well as with a different name.
yeah,
So I'm like, oh, it's the same thing. It's the same war.
yeah.
Islam
They're just
versus
expressing it.
ah, bro.
Yeah,
You just made yo. Oh shoot, yo, that's what's happening.
yeah. And like that's really like the more we start to understand the systems that were already in place and what they call the old world,
Yeah,
the more we can understand how those systems integrated into the events in what they call the new world.
that's why they don't let their foot off baby's neck. They'll never forgive you for doing that.
Mm-mm. Because it,
Haiti,
it opened up so much. It inspired so many revolts and uprisings throughout the Americas, throughout the world. Right? This is going on at the same time as the French Revolution. So the Haitian Revolution is even forcing people in the French Revolution to stand on all this equality and stuff that they fighting for.
yeah, liberty or death.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
right? You would if you were somebody in France at the time fighting for the French Revolution and you supported the Haitian Revolution, you would have been like on the extreme of their perspective
The elites.
during that time.
Yeah.
They would call, they would
Oh.
they would have called you an extreme liberal,
Mm.
all because right they're fighting for these things called equality for a whole time that they're reducing people to property, and these people are rising up,
Mm-hmm.
and they are taking down the empire, the European empire on their own. But that also speaks to timing and what's going on today.
Yes,
As you
sir.
see, empires are falling. It's
Yep.
the opportune time to start to build parallel systems.
I see
That's
that
what we can
happening.
learn from the Haitian Revolution.
It's happening to this day. France is
It's
starting to
happening right
fall.
now. France
France.
is France is losing ground. America's losing ground. Britain's losing ground.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These transitions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only that the Haitian Revolution happened, but what factors were at play that allowed it to be successful. You have to look at these patterns.
Man, I wish we could do another show on this because although we celebrate Haitian Flag Day for today, May 18th,
So,
I don't want to clog up the people's the people want other shows. I want to keep saying, "Oh, come on, man, you can do a part two on this." But now it's like there are times I'm sitting down as you're speaking. I may not be responding, but I'm taking things in. I'm listening, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, oh shoot, I see it now. I see what he's saying because it's making sense. You got both nations on that one island.
Yeah.
One is waving and inviting with a flag. The other has a coat of arms like a talisman on it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get a. That's why it's come. Oh my god!
I'm symbol.
Everything. Well, not every communication is language. It's symbols. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Even down to Moroccan flag, it's a symbol. It's a
Symbol.
pentagram.
It's the pentagram, it's the emblem. And that's why,
Mhm.
I say like why Circle 7 is so powerful. Because here we have these history of talismans and
Mhm.
amulets. Here the prophet goes to give us a talisman and an amulet that represents perfected man,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
how each individual can be perfected in the cog of the wheel of the whole so that we could be a perfected nation.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
this stuff is deep, man.
No, man, I appreciate you coming out, brother, for real. We gotta get you to come back. Mauryell, man. It's been a pleasure rocking with you, brother, for real, man.
Likewise, always a
You,
pleasure, bro. I appreciate you, brother, Mike.
no, you just you done got me. If you could share that
Yeah,
presentation, I would appreciate that.
what's your
And
number?
um, I'm
Yeah, I
shooting. I'm
got
shooting to you. Yeah, yeah.
you. Yeah, I think I
You got
got
it
it.
right.
My bad for trying to get you to say it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to like I want people
Yeah, my
calling me.
bad. My bad.
So,
Yeah.
it ends 6698. That's the last digit. Six six
Yeah.
nine eight. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna shoot you the link to you. I'm gonna text the links to you.
yeah. Definitely do that, man. Get the books.
Yes,
People,
sir.
don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We
Yeah.
appreciate you guys for coming out. Get the brother's book right here. Can't
Yeah.
really see it. It's a little fuzzy.
Let me, oh, let me see
What's the name of the book, brother?
It's the missing piece to the puzzle.
Listen, piece
I'm
of
gonna
the
go to my
puzzle.
demonstration for a second. The missing piece to the puzzle.
Got you.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
An unbroken history of the past and prophecies of the future for Moorish America.
Can
So
they
the
find it on
goal,
Amazon?
yep, you found it on Amazon. You can get it off Gumroad as well. So the goal of this book is to literally give an unbroken history of our people that we can trace ourselves back without no missing gaps. And
Got you.
from understanding how we can trace ourselves back, we can see the prophecies for the future that's laid out for us to rebuild this historical continuity that was lost.
Got you, brother. Appreciate you, man, for coming out with that. People, it's been a long day. Gotta take care of some business in the morning. I appreciate you all for coming out. Mauryell Smith L, brother, keep doing your thing. You are a
Thank you, brother.
scholar. You are amazing, bro. You're one of the voices out there for the people, man. Peace and love, my brother.
I
Peace and
appreciate
love to
that,
my
brother, man.
people.
Peace and love.
No doubt. With NYP, we are out. One.